Hey everybody, and welcome to the Star in Focus podcast. We are here in San Diego, California at StarCon 24. And I have with us today Kolleen Barnes and Kelly Moranz from Tri-C. I added an extra bit there. What does the C stand for?
Cuyahoga Community
Oh, that's
College.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember.
What, 3 C's. There
Yeah,
you go.
that makes sense.
Right.
Well, I'm so grateful that you ladies are sitting down with us because you have been in this industry for so long that you have such a wealth of knowledge. How did you even get into the industry to begin with?
So I worked as a court reporter for a long time before becoming an educator. So I got into court reporting in my early 20s and fell in love with it.
And what kind of a reporter were you?
Freelance.
Were you a steno writer or digital?
A steno writer.
Okay,
Yes.
Very cool. And then did you have family that was, or how did you even get into that market?
Well, I actually had a friend of the family who was a court reporter here in Los Angeles, in California, and she had come to visit and she showed it all to me, and it just, looked like it was gonna be a perfect fit, and that was it. I went down to school, signed up.
And
The
there
rest
you
is
have it.
history.
That's amazing. How about you, Kelly?
So I am a graduate of Tri-C, and I am one of those people that had wrist issues. So I started in steno. I worked for a court reporting firm. I was the office manager, and I got to do everything in as far as scoping, proofing, helping new reporters, all of those great things. And I've always loved it since I was a little girl. I don't know how I first heard about it, and that's the rest is history. When I was leaving high school, I couldn't decide between teaching and court reporting. So now that I get to be an instructor, it's the best of both worlds.
That really is.
Yeah,
That's super cool.
It's been great. It's been great.
Awesome. And did you guys meet at Tri-C, or did you know each other before then?
I think it was really through the Ohio Court Reporters Association. I ran into Kelly there one day, started talking about needing more teachers. She was interested, and yeah.
I was actually there with new reporters that I had mentored, and we were all there together because they were speaking to students
Sure.
to let them know about their experience. And then I ran into these ladies and said, "Oh, you're from Tri-C. I went to Tri-C," and the rest is history.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been working together at the school?
Oh,
How long have you been there?
18,
Yeah.
19
Years.
almost probably 20, almost close to 20. Yeah.
Long time.
And has the program and everything changed quite a bit in that amount of time? I would
so
imagine.
much.
Oh,
Back
it's
then,
certainly-
we were just a steno program. Since then, we've added voice and digital. So we teach it all.
And so are you also, could you be a voice writer if somebody needed you to go out and take a job? Or like how?
So we cross-trained on voice when we added it to the program. Since I don't do it on a regular basis, I wouldn't tell you I could go out and take a steno job tomorrow either, because it's been
Sure.
a long time.
That's fair, yeah.
Maybe I could, but I don't think anyone would want me to try without doing some practice first. But yeah, and then we've also learned the digital since.
Yes. So we are both certified reporting instructors through NCRA. And then also I do have my CDR and CER, just because I want to make sure that I'm teaching everything that needs to be taught within the program that we are as a program.
Yeah.
Keeping up and things of that nature.
Lead by an example and all of that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
And what do you see now that you have all three? Is there a trend that you have, more people in one category than another?
I think our enrollment is still at the point where steno makes up the majority of our students,
Okay.
followed by voice, followed by digital. But the important thing is that students have the opportunity to choose the path, the method that it appeals to them, that makes the best sense. And, that's the exciting part of it, is that it's 3 different methods to the same career. So you choose the one that's the best avenue for you.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And we also developed between us, we have one instructor that facilitates the particular class all the time, but it's a free 4-week online class, because we are a completely online program for all 3 methods. That it's a vetting process when students take this class to see which technology might be the best fit for them.
Well, that's
And
brilliant.
it's a vetting process for us, because then we can see if people need a little bit more help with technology. And then we also have the ability then to better direct them in the path that might be the best for them. So they might come in thinking that one of the 3 methods is the best thing for them, and they have a little sample of it, and they're like, oh, okay, that's not for me. But then they have the opportunity to know about the other 2 and make a better well-informed choice of what's best for them.
Yeah.
Deanna, we met a student here, sorry,
No, it's
who is about to start school, and she came here thinking she was going to do voice. And then yesterday when she watched all of the different demonstrations, she was so taken with the digital that now she thinks that's the road she wants to go. And this is exactly why our free intro class is so important, because it gives students a chance to know a little bit more, to play around a bit with the technology, see what it's all about, and then make an informed choice.
Absolutely. I mean, and it feels very profound, but it's also so simple. Like it feels like it should just be incredibly obvious.
Right.
And I think it's also kind of a nice reprieve, because if you have a daunting student loan or whatever it might be, you may not feel like you can step back. But if it's all in the same school, I'm sure that there's a way to make it so that it's not another additional financial burden. It sounds like you guys offer a lot of financial assistance, right?
We're very fortunate to be at the largest community college in Ohio, and so we have a lot of opportunities that maybe not everybody does. And so we do have a lending program with steno machines for anyone that can physically come to the college and borrow a machine that can help them to offset that cost. Kelly, you could talk about the digital.
Right. We have a scholarship that's available specific for our digital students. We have scholarships as a whole at the college, and we have some very specific to the court reporting program on top of the scholarships that the entire college has. And then for the voice writing, we also have the technology licenses that we had purchased through a grant. And so those cycle through the program.
So students don't have to buy the software.
So each technology has extra perks
Incentive
for students and incentives. And then of course we, financial aid. We've placed all the things in the bookstore so that students can use their financial aid as well. And so it works out it's great for the students.
It sounds like a really good program.
Yeah.
Do you see a wide variety of ages?
We do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
sure. We get the kids out of high school early on, young. It's mostly women, let's be honest. But but we get real excited when we get a man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then we often get women that are looking at it kind of as either a second career, or maybe after raising a family sometimes.
Yeah.
Or they tried, or they started when they were young, and then they stopped out, and now they're coming back.
Right. We actually get a good amount of teachers and nurses that get burnt out, and then they come and look at this for a second career, and they are used to a more rigorous lifestyle or training, so they typically do very well in the program regardless of which technology they choose. So we see a lot of that.
That's really cool. And I like to advocate for the fact that you can be any age in this,
I love that about this profession.
Right?
There's no age discrimination whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And that's sometimes when we talk with those that we call more seasoned in life, so you have this advantage because you've heard so much vocabulary in your life.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge advantage.
It really is.
And also the first time you walk into that depot, they're going to think you've been doing it a long time.
Right, yeah. That's another perk. Yeah, definitely.
Right. But then on the flip side of that, the younger ones may not have as busy of a schedule or family commitments. So, there's that balance between
better handle on technology sometimes when they're younger.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what do you have, can you even admit if you have a preference to the...
I mean,
that's hard. For me personally, or for my students?
No, I mean, let's talk about both.
Yeah, I mean, for my students, I have no preference. I want them to choose the path that, is going to lead them to success, because we have seen it change students' lives when they move from whatever they were doing in the past to the freedom and flexibility and income potential of being a court reporter. It just, really, I could tear up just talking about it.
Yeah.
But for myself, of course, my first love was steno. It's what I learned. It's what I did. But then when I learned voice, I was amazed at how I could speak these big words and they would come out so quick and easy. And it was so much, different than what steno writers dealt with.
Yeah.
And then comes along the digital, and you see a whole new avenue and opportunity that wasn't there just a short while ago.
Yeah.
And with our program, we really focus on training the whole reporter. So we want, no matter which technology you've chosen, we want that whole reporter. So there's overlap. So everyone takes legal terminology. Everyone takes transcript production. So, the only time our students are separated is when they are learning their technology.
Okay.
But when they're in the other classes, they're all together.
That's cool. Fun.
Yeah. So we think that really raises the awareness of the other technologies and also the acceptance.
Sure.
And that's going to help the culture of the next generation.
Because you're all doing the same job, you're just
Right.
choosing a different technology to accomplish it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And I think it's fascinating, and like it's instilling collaboration from the get-go for sure. And I think like you had said, you're not the only one who had, developed some
Right.
sort of physical
Right.
ailment that prevented you from.
Right.
So it's just nice to know that is an option, because I don't know if you maybe were a steno in the 90s, did you even know that you could be a voice writer or whatever?
Absolutely not.
Right?
That would have been definitely
Would have-
a plan B, and right down that avenue.
Right.
For sure. So we've had, prior to this, I was the program director. We're both full-time faculty now. And I would have students that would come to us on a certain technology and say, it's taking too long, or, life's bums came along. If they had skills that would be beneficial to the profession, then I would have a conversation with them and say, why don't you try this other method?
Right.
And they stayed in the program with a different technology, and they're court reporters today, and successful court reporters.
Right.
And like Kolleen said, just to see that has changed their life to improve it so much.
It gives us more tools to help them be successful.
Sure.
Back when we were only a steno program, that was it. If steno wasn't going to work out for you, then I guess you were going to pick a different career. You weren't going to be
Right.
a court reporter. But as Kelly said, now there are other opportunities that you can, move from one to another.
Yeah. And I like steno because that's what I know, and
Right.
so obviously
Correct.
that's what. But I wonder, and you probably know, is the steno program the longest one? Does it take the people the longest to get out of?
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah,
And-
It's the level of skill.
Sure.
Right? We
Yeah.
know because it's the language part of it and the physical skill and the level of accuracy that you need to get to.
sure.
Right. So we were talking earlier today that we've noticed that the steno writers, they'll be finished with their what we call the academic classes, and then they're finishing up their speed. The voice writers, because they're training a skill they already have, they usually get to their speed first, and then they're finishing up their academics, where the digital reporters have that opportunity because there's no speed component to finish, right on time, 2 semesters. There you go.
2
So-
semesters. Wow.
Right,
yeah.
right.
I went for about 190 semesters. Yeah.
We have students like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I
And
wonder.
that's okay.
I honestly, it's totally fine. And I heard, so many things from different people about what I should or shouldn't do or whatever. And I am very grateful that I have the career now, and it's done so many things for me personally. But certainly, had I had the option to bow out, I probably would have. I probably would have done, but I didn't have the option to do digital I'm sure I did. I
Right.
just wasn't aware of it. You know what I mean? I feel like that's just monumental, just to feel like you don't. Because it's a failure, I think, that people will take with them. And failure is okay. We don't necessarily need to make it a negative word, but, it can have some negative impacts if you don't have a positive spin on it. And it just really makes my heart feel big that there's a way to, sort of save them, and
Right.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
invested. That
Yeah.
they've put a lot of time and effort into what they've learned so far. And when it is, for instance, a steno student who switches to voice, there's a lot of knowledge that goes with that makes the voice writing part easier. The idea of writing a brief form that they used to know in steno, but now they're going to use their voice to do it, comes very naturally to them.
Yeah.
Another thing too is if they move to digital, then the some of the same either voice code
Shortcuts.
or briefs, they can use that when they're annotating. So again,
Yeah.
there's all of that overlap. One of the other things that we really take pride in, it's relationship building with our students.
Yeah.
So that started right from the beginning when I was program director. We would have a conversation. We want to know what's going on in their lives
Yeah.
to help them be successful. If someone tells me I'm a caregiver for my parents and I have 2 children at home and I homeschool them and I work full time, well, we're not going to have them take a full time schedule. The
Right.
college would like them to take a full time
Yeah.
Sure.
schedule, perhaps, right?
It's not
Yeah.
setting them up for success.
It's not setting them up for success. So we really try right from the beginning to get to know them so that we can help them along the way and to set up that next semester and then the one after that. And if it takes longer, it's okay.
Totally.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Because we are setting them up for success.
We're blessed as 3 full-time faculty who care so deeply about our students' success that we get to have them over and over. In a normal
Right.
college program, right? You see your professor once, you finish your English class and you move on.
Right.
But, they may start off in theory with me and the next year they could have a CAT class with me. And so they're going to come back around. So building that relationship, is much easier to accomplish too.
Yeah.
One thing that I think also is unique to our program is, number one, all of our faculty have worked in the profession. That's number one.
Yeah.
And then number two, the majority of our part-time faculty are all graduates. So,
Oh, very cool. Okay.
So we look for them. We let them go out there a couple of years in the industry and then circle back with them and, see if that's something that they would like to do, is come back and teach with us. We always say our graduates really never leave.
Never leave.
They,
Aw.
They're
still
super proud.
contact us for advice and, different things like that. So it's all about those relationships, really.
It is. I mean, that's pivotal in having a successful student is,
Right.
Somebody who feels like, whatever their age is, right, that they can connect and they can get that assistance. And
Right.
obviously, you ladies love the career, and that's just so valuable.
Sure.
It's really a lovely thing that you're doing. Do
Yeah.
you have any aspirations for things that you want to do that you haven't yet been able to? Like, is there an international sector you want to do? Is there traveling you want to do?
We have students from all around the country and all around the world because we are online.
Right,
And,
remote.
and the other thing is we've been online for a really long time. We were the first program at the college to be completely online.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that offered an accredited online
Degrees.
associate's degree.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So when COVID hit, we were not doing the scramble to get
Right,
our
right.
curriculum online. Everything was there. Our students didn't miss a beat. Maybe they didn't like that, but they
I know, right?
but they didn't miss a beat. So it just makes a huge difference in terms of curriculum building and the quality. And the other big thing within our program is we really help the adjuncts, the part-time faculty, and we keep all of our course sites uniform. So they all know that they're going to have a start here. You're going to go here for this. You're going to go here for that. So they all have that same look and feel, including that free class. So that's why we call it a trial run.
Yeah.
So they get to see online all of those kind of things. And so we're all structured the same way. So that lends to a great amount of consistency, and it lessens the anxiety for the students each semester as they're starting
Sure.
their next class.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I know that obviously different methods are going to have different theories or
Right.
whatever it might be. So are they all taught real time,
100%.
conflict free? Because I was taught real time, but guess who has all the conflicts? It's me. Because I was always trying to write faster, and so I wanted less strokes, right?
Right.
And so then,
Yeah.
so now I'm doubling back and trying to get all of those outs or whatever. But
Right.
Yeah,
I
our steno students, of course, write a completely conflict-free theory. They don't even understand how you could add a conflict into your dictionary. Like, they don't know that even exists. But our steno students, which is actually pretty unique, I think, in the industry, are held to the same standard. So in voice writing, a lot of times, on the national exam to produce their transcript, they can listen to their audio file.
The voice writers can?
Yeah. But our students cannot listen to their audio file the same way that a steno student could not. And so they come out of school 100% real time. And they're passing the national exam
At 99% accuracy.
as they come out of school. I mean, they are
Nice.
the best voice writers, I believe, that you can produce.
yeah, certainly. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a very high accuracy
Yeah,
rate,
huge
definitely.
standard.
Right.
And it gives them opportunities right out of the gate to work also in industries like CART and captioning, which is
Yeah.
important because not everywhere in the country has voice writers in the court system, in the
Sure.
judicial system.
Yeah.
And so because we're a national program, we want to make sure that wherever you're coming to us from, there are job opportunities for you.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
When we developed each program going along the way, we are an NCRA approved school.
Mhm.
So we have all those standards that we have to meet, and we have to go through re-approval every 5 years, things of that nature. So when we developed the voice program, we wanted the same standards for the voice writers because we didn't want anyone to ever say that one of our voice writers didn't do the same as our steno writers
Oh, right.
did.
Yeah.
Okay, So then we went, when we did the digital, we still structured it that same way because we're, again, that whole reporter, but we also went through the entire AART best practices guide. That's where we started. And then we looked through to see what was already in our classes, what components, and then we added the components and developed the specific technology and those courses for the
that
digital.
track.
Yeah, that track. So we have this experience of building this curriculum, but it has that consistency and it overlaps so that everyone is getting the best education they can. And I would agree 100% with Kolleen. Students just need to join the associations. Plus, we also, in all 3 tracks, encourage our students right away to get whatever certification applies.
Yeah.
We are firm believers in that. In our state of Ohio, for steno, you don't have to be an RPR. Okay, but we still encourage our students to do that.
Yeah.
Right away. Our Ohio students, whatever state you're from.
Yeah.
And again, for voice writing, get your CDR. For digital, get your CET, CER, CDR, whichever one applies, or all.
Yeah.
So we just think certification is so important all the way around.
I agree 100%. I really do. And I live in a state right now, Minnesota doesn't require a license either. And so I was already working, the 7th time I failed my RPR, what I mean? But I agree with you. There's just something really important, especially now that we are able with the remote situation to take stuff because other states do. So I know that I have taken remote work because I'm in Minnesota, even though the case is here, but because I don't know that I'm not a lawyer, but it's allowed me to work in places that I wouldn't be able to if I resided there kind of a thing.
Yes.
Which is just super beneficial. And yeah, it just feels like you've actually accomplished, you have those credentials. I was joking when I got my RPR that I was going to get all new credit cards and all that, so I can put the RPR behind my name like a doctor or something.
And you should.
I know, right?
Put all the letters behind your name, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. We work very hard to make sure that our curriculum also is addressing what is needed in all the different states. So like here in California, where they take a 4-voice test, when we started to have students and we wanted to help meet the need out here in California, we added 4-voice instead of just an introduction, like 4-voice curriculum, 4-voice testing into our program too.
That's great.
Yeah, so they have practice materials and the testing materials ready.
What is your practice module? And I only have experience as a steno, so I know that there are, do you have different ones how do you do that?
Nope. So we use Real-Time Coach for all of them.
That's what I use.
Right.
Oh, for all of them?
All of them, right. We put the audio files in there, so that's their practice and testing platform.
It's actually our material. It's just delivered through Real-Time Coach.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
We have over 55,000 faculty created audio files
for practice for testing.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
More as we speak, right?
That's
We are.
wild.
We are.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. 55,000 is a lot. So once they graduate, how's the job placement? I mean, I imagine it's 100%.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've been with the college for 26 years and I've never had a student finish the program that didn't have at least one job opportunity, sometimes more than that, because when they're out there interning, they just want them,
Yeah.
And we help them with our internship to make the connections with firms and reporters in their area. And we like to mix it up because I would tell them you're interviewing them just as much as they're kind of interviewing you when you're doing your internship. In the past there was more employee independent contractor differences. Mostly now everyone is an independent contractor, with voice and steno. So they had to also look at that. Is that something that worked better for them, or how that worked as well?
Yeah.
So, but we're not technically allowed to say 100% placement, but if people are looking for a job, one of our former campus presidents actually called it a 200% employment rate because
they get multiple offers.
They at least have 2 choices.
Yeah.
From.
And it's so the irony that there's this connotation that there's not enough, that the jobs are going away or whatever. There's a lot, but in fact it's the opposite. It's there's so much work to cover. We need more people come in and it's wild. So you had just made a comment though that for steno and for voice. So for digital, is that mostly, are you finding is like a more W-2 situation and they're not independently contracts?
It just depends on the
It's
business
more of a
model
mix
the
than,
company.
I think it's more of a mix than you'll find with voice and steno, which
Yes.
just tends to be
Yes.
more independent contractor. I mean, unless you're working in like the court system, but
Right,
everything
yes,
else
yeah,
tends to
definitely.
fall there.
Yeah. Do you have any like absolute favorite stories about either your past career or your students or? And I'm not telling you to well up. I don't know what's happening with me, but I definitely feel like I can well up easily, so no pressure.
You know, I know maybe one particular favorite is a student that we had who was visually impaired.
Yes, I was going to.
And she started off as a steno writer. It was quite cumbersome to try to accomplish that. So she switched to voice, and she obviously, successfully finished. And there was a point at which she shared with us that I don't remember the amount of time, in a very short period of time, she had made as much money as she had previously ever made in an entire year.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, to me, it was just being able to see that, what we're able to facilitate for students can change their lives.
Oh, yeah.
And she also was able to start her own business.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my gosh, that's monumental.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me feel so good.
and then she would hire our graduates. So
Yeah.
it was good.
Oh, look at that.
And where there's one story like that, there's many, but she's one that stands out where you just know that this person, just had the same life-changing experience that I feel like court reporting did for me,
And
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So
That's great.
And I, in the past, when I was program director, one of my favorite groups to talk with about court reporting, it's a program at the college called Women in Transition. So they may be coming back into the workforce. They may have a life change, maybe a divorce, something. It doesn't matter why they are there. But then I would give the presentation, and it's one of my favorite groups to present to, because I like to tell my court reporting story, and I end it with the bottom line of this is court reporting has always paid the bills for me, but on my terms, where I was in my life.
Yes.
And, really the flexibility and the things that you can do and still be at events and still do all those things, it is my favorite group to talk with. And we've had many people that have come into the program from that group and be successful and just, again, change their lives. Just, and we're not even talking about, monumental 6 figures at first, or anything like that. It's just the amount that they even start with is shocking to them that they were able to make this money.
Yeah.
And it's been great.
It absolutely, and it is just such a good career, and we are lucky to have you ladies being part of the backbone of teaching our students. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's important.
Oh yeah, wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me and sharing with our viewers all of the great things that you do and all the possibilities that are out there.
We're so happy you did this. You're doing this, and we love STAR. It's just so nice to be here in this great, friendly environment, and we encourage our students to get involved. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you ladies so much. It's been great. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thanks.